Greetings, everyone. Well, today we continue our in-depth look at all the cool stuff that Skinslip and Mrs. Skinslip sent my way the other day. Last time we talked about The Last Starfighter on Blu-ray, The Serpent and the Rainbow on DVD. Today we're going to talk about Robocop and Breathless. Both exquisite Criterion Collection editions, and also because a lot of you asked me about what exactly the Criterion Collection is. I was just stunned that there were people out there who didn't know what the Criterion Collection was. Like, really? Well, I'm also going to talk a little bit about what makes the Criterion Collection so awesome, and why film freaks like me gush about it so often. And that's what we're going to talk about today on the Multimedia Chronicles. Alright, so now we get into the Criterion Collection. A few of you posted saying you don't know what the Criterion Collection is. Well, if you go to their website, which is just criterion.com, they actually have an About Us section. But in short, Criterion is basically a company founded by film enthusiasts and film buffs. The idea being they wanted to create a catalog of the most definitive examples of fine films in the world. So you'll find a lot of foreign films in there, a lot of indie films, and a lot of other just big notable Hollywood movies from over the years. They were actually started in 1984 and released all their stuff exclusively on Laserdisc. And then DVD came along and they started releasing all their stuff on DVD. When they released their stuff on Laserdisc, they're also individually numbered. Like, for example, with Robocop, you can see this is actually numbered 23. So this is number 23 in the Criterion library. Now, I should mention, when they did them on Laserdisc, they had their own individual numbering for the Laserdisc editions. And then they started it over again with number 1 for the DVD editions. So the DVD editions, even though a lot of them were just re-releases of the Laserdisc editions, had often had different numbers from the Laserdisc edition. With Blu-ray, however, they said that they're not going to bother restarting the numbering yet again. They're actually just carrying over the same numbers from the DVD editions. So most of their current stuff gets released on both DVD and Blu-ray, and they have they have been diving a bit into their back catalog and re-releasing some of the old stuff. The only problem is, sadly, a lot of the stuff that they released in the past, they have not been able to re-release on Blu-ray or sometimes even on DVD because they only had the rights for a limited time and those rights expired, and as such we don't have some of them getting re-released. And that's another reason why the Criterions tend to be big collector's items, because they do their own extras. So any extras that are on here are usually exclusive to the Criterion edition. Occasionally, companies that get the rights later will license those extras for those editions, but most of the time they are exclusive to the Criterion edition. I have an edition of, where is it here? Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. Yeah, I have this edition, for example, of Ran, which is just a fantastic samurai epic film by Akira Kurosawa. And I almost sold this when I heard the Blu-ray was coming out, but then I found out that the Blu-ray was not the same as the Criterion edition. It was actually, the rights had reverted back to Lionsgate, and Lionsgate did the Blu-ray. So all of the content, like just the tons and tons of content that's on this Criterion edition, is not on the Lionsgate Blu-ray. And apparently the Lionsgate Blu-ray is only a so-so transfer. I mean, this is a beautiful film. Kurosawa knew how to photograph a frickin' scene, and this is a beautiful, beautiful film and deserves the best picture quality possible. And that's why myself, and I'm sure a lot of other fans, were very disappointed to hear that Criterion's rights had lapsed and there would be no Criterion Blu-ray of that. So, in general, what you're looking at with Criterion is the highest possible quality picture, These guys know how to transfer film properly. You can always count on Criterion to be the best possible picture quality and the best possible sound quality. This edition of Robocop, for example, this edition of Robocop was actually a very early DVD release. This came out in 1998 originally. DVD was only like a year old. All right, and what we have here is a dual layer disc using the highest possible bit rate, and the movie's only 103 minutes long. So I mean that's beautiful. It's fantastic. I mean, this is comparable in quality to the Laserdisc edition, which I used to have. So special features. The special features on the Laserdisc, as I recall, were a little bit lame. And this one, they actually did add a few more things on here, so it's a little bit better. This is the first and only time that the... Well, not the only time, but this is the first time that the unrated director's cut version was made available. Originally, when Robocop was released theatrically, there were a few seconds of some of the extreme violence. They were actually trimmed so they could get an R rating. Otherwise, it was going to be rated X for violence. The funny thing is, trimming those extreme violent scenes out actually made those violent scenes more horrific. Because in the unrated version, which is this version, and all subsequent releases of Robocop, by the way, most of the ones you buy now on DVD and Blu-ray are the unrated cut. The unrated version, those excessively violent scenes go on so long that they become farce, and they become, funny in their extremity. And that was the intention, was to have that black humor element. I mean, it's prevalent throughout the entire film. But it was one of those cases where the MPAA freaked out about the violence, not really understanding the humor of it and the intended humor of it, ordered that it be cut down. So they cut it down, and it made it more horrific. So the R-rated cut is in some ways more disturbing than the unrated cut, and the unrated cut is the more violent of the two. Just kind of funny. Somehow less is more disturbing than more being less disturbing. I don't know. Anyway, when I got the Laserdisc, it was the first time I had seen the unrated cut. I had, of course, heard about it in interviews because I was kind of obsessed with Robocop when it first came out. I just thought it was a fantastic film. It's the first R-rated movie I ever saw in the theater. I was 15 at the time. The way R works in Canada is you have to be 18 or over. No ifs, ands, or buts. None of this parental accompaniment bullshit. No. You have to be 18 or over to see an R-rated movie in the theater. I think they've lapsed up on that in recent years. There's, exceptions. You can go, like, accompanied by an adult. But at the time that this came out, 1987, that was the rule. If you were not 18 or older, you could not go to see an R-rated movie. So my friend and I tried a couple of theaters until we found one that let us in. He was also 15. So he had seen Platoon the year before, when he was, I guess he was like a year older than me, so he was like 16. But the point being, neither of us were 18. So anyway, we got in. We didn't like sneak in or anything. I mean, we legitimately bought tickets and stuff. So I mean, it's on the, it's the theater is bad for letting us in. Anyway, love the movie. Have owned it several times over. I mean, I have the Blu-ray trilogy, which another viewer very graciously sent me a while back. But it's great to have this particular edition because not only was this the first time that the unrated cut was available, but it's also the only edition in existence that actually has it in the correct aspect ratio of 1.66 to 1. All the other editions are cropped to 1.85 to 1. That was something I always looked at with other editions when I was looking to replace the old Criterion Laserdisc, which I sadly sold many moons ago. Was, okay, great, it's the unrated cut, but is it the right aspect ratio? I mean, it's not a big difference, honestly, between 1.66 to 1.85, but it is a difference. And I mean, if you want to be total purist about it, you want that, slightly more image area that you get with the correct aspect ratio. Anyway, in terms of extras on here, we have the unrated director's cut, including the excessively violent shots cut from the theatrical release to avoid an X rating. Audio commentary by director Paul Verhoeven, co-writer Edward Neumeier, executive producer John Davison, and Robocop expert Paul M. Salmon. That is another reason to get this. That commentary is not available anywhere else, as far as I'm aware. And it is a fantastic commentary. That alone is worth, the price of admission tracking this edition down. It's a great, very lively, entertaining, and very informative commentaries, great stuff. Film to storyboard comparison, storyboards. An illustrated essay on the making of Robocop. Theatrical and teaser trailers. And optimal image quality, RSDL dual layer edition. So there you go. That's pretty cool. And then in addition to that, we also have this little. Maybe this is the illustrated essay they're talking about, but this is there we go. That's the better. And then just chapter listing on the back, and that's written by Carrie Rickey. Most of most Criterion editions have stuff like this, like little essays. Like actually the Blade Runner Laserdisc that I was talking about a few package openings ago. That one has a little essay on it and stuff. So here we have the disc. And I noticed, I don't know if this was Skinslip that did this or what, but there's actually a protective plastic ring thing in there. It keeps it all nice and safe, and it's beautiful. You can tell this is an older one because the dual layer discs were always gold in color like this. Nowadays, they don't do that. I don't know if it was just an aesthetic thing or what. But yeah, all the older dual layer discs that I've seen have always been gold in color like that. So now the big un. This is going to be a long video. Well, good thing I didn't say it was going to be short. Now we have the Criterion edition of Breathless, Jean-Luc Godard. I've not watched it yet. I do apologize. I will get around to that fairly soon. So this is actually a three disc? No, it's 2-disc edition. 2-disc edition plus a book. That's what it is. Okay, so just reading the back here, we have, there was before Breathless and there was after Breathless. Jean-Luc Godard burst onto the film scene. Did they misspell his name? No, it's only one D. Okay. Burst onto the film scene in 1960 with this jazzy, freeform, and sexy homage to the American film genres that inspired him as a writer for Cahiers du Cinéma. With its lack of polish, surplus of attitude, anything-goes crime narrative, and effervescent young stars Jean-Paul Belmondo and Jean Seberg, Breathless helped launch the French New Wave and ensured cinema would never be the same. So, special edition double disc set features Disc 1, new restored high-definition digital transfer approved by director of photography Raoul Coutard, archival interviews with director Jean-Luc Godard and actors Jean-Paul Belmondo, Jean Seberg, and Jean-Pierre Melville, French theatrical trailer, and new and improved English subtitle translation. Disc 2, new video interviews with Coutard, assistant director Pierre Riccian, and filmmaker D.A. Pennebaker. New video essays, filmmaker Mark Rappaport's Jean Seberg and critic Jonathan Rosenbaum's Breathless as Criticism. Chamber 12, Hotel de Suede, an 80-minute French documentary about the making of Breathless with members of the cast and crew. Charlotte as Son Jules, a 1959 short film by Godard starring Belmondo, plus a book featuring an essay by scholar Dudley Andrew, writings by Godard, Francois Truffaut's original film treatment, and Godard's scenario. That is freaking cool. Everything you ever wanted to know. And to give you some idea of how massive the Criterion collection is, this came out in 2007, this particular edition, and they were already up to number 408. Yeah. If I had the money, I would so buy every single film in the Criterion collection, seriously, and then I could call myself an expert on all things film, because that's, you know, I mean, it's, if you're a film fan, the Criterion collection is, you know, it's your golden goose. You know, I mean, there's just so much stuff in there that, you know, it will entertain you, reward you, enthrall you, and educate you, and just give you so much frickin' culture you won't know what to do. So here's a whole bunch of pictures from the film on the back there, very nice. And then inside we have the two leads there. I'm sorry I can't say much about the film because I haven't watched it yet, but I might do some other stuff about it at some point. So this is kind of interesting. Weird. So it's like, okay, so we have the two discs in the middle, and then it's like imprints of the disc on the cover. It's not actually, I mean, it almost looks like the ink rubbed off on it, but it actually isn't, I don't think. I don't know, it's hard to say. Damn you, Criterion, for being so mysterious. No, I don't think it did. I think it's, yeah, no, it's intentional. It's design. It's not a flaw. It's like with my editions of, what is it, The Newsroom, the Canadian satirical series, The Newsroom. The discs and package look like they have coffee rings all over them. It's very intentional. So here we have a bout de soufflé. And this is a whole bunch of stuff. Well, you can see here, the list of contents. This is not unusual for Criterion as well. They usually have extensive booklets. So we got Breathless Then and Now. Very nice. And where is it? We got we got Goddard in his own words. And but yeah, they often have booklets like this, and just give you all kinds of insight into the making of the film. Short treatment. Oh, Breathless in progress. So yeah, while working in the press department of Fox Studios in France, Jean-Luc Godard met film producer Georges de Beauregard, to whom he proposed 4 ideas for possible feature-length projects. One of them was a short treatment by Francois Truffaut, fresh off his sensational directorial debut with The 400 Blows. Very cool. And then here we go. We have the actual original Truffaut treatment. Yeah, I don't think I've actually seen any of Francois Truffaut's films. I'm mainly familiar with him as the French scientist in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where, of course, Steven Spielberg cast him in that because he was such a fan of his films and just wanted the opportunity to work with him any way he possibly could. Then there's, I guess, Goddard's take on the original treatment. Very cool. But this is the thing I love about Criterion. I mean, this is a very nice photograph there. This is one of the things I love about Criterion, and why you'll hear people, other collectors like me just gushing about them, is because it really is a company composed of film fans making editions of films for other film fans. That's what the big deal is with Criterion, is they really go all out, not just in terms of picture quality and sound quality, but just in terms of making every single one of their editions something truly deluxe and special. Like, it doesn't matter what film it is. You pick that film up in a Criterion edition, and you're getting something worthwhile, and something that will really celebrate everything that is wonderful about whatever that particular film is. And, yeah, I mean, if you're a film fan, you owe it to yourself to have at least a few Criterions in your collection. And sadly, I only have a few Criterions in my collection, but I definitely hope to get more. And I definitely thank you once again, Skinslip and Mrs. Skinslip, for these 2 fantastic additions to the Criterion content of my collection. I cannot begin to express my gratitude. I'm really going to enjoy both of those. I mean, Robocop is one of those movies. I've seen it 1,000 times, and I'll see it 1,000 more times before I die. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. And Breathless, just from what little I've seen flipping through the edition there, I'm really looking forward to checking that one out too. So thank you very, very much for that fantastic little piece of film history. Alrighty. Well, I think that about covers everything. Here, we'll just throw Ron up there too, just because it's there. Actually, we'll put it over here. You can see a little better. There we go. All right. Alrighty. Well, that about covers it. So next time we'll be on to something else, maybe another package, maybe some updates. I don't know. You'll just have to tune in again next time and see. Alrighty. Until then, thanks for watching, and sayonara.